So when my husband went for vasectomy, I was happy. Vasectomy is successful. I was now the happiest woman. I'm done with the delivery. And then I began workout. At some point then, boom, I'm like, why is it that the more I'm working out, the more my belly is coming? I'm like, hey, I'm pregnant again. And I was like, how? And I was like, people will crucify me. And I would be indoors 24/7. I was embarrassed. And it happened that our story got out. Wah. Oh, this woman looks like a very unfaithful wife. This one alichezo. Everybody concluded, including relatives and friends who are sending my husband, how do we say, sorry messages, how do we say those? Sorry bro, you will just pick up the pieces. Yeah, we are sorry for you guys after all these years in marriage. Beryl decided to do this and I'm pregnant, I'm heavy. Even the last interview was told, why can't you do the DNA? Do the DNA. I must start by saying I'm very grateful for offering me a chance even to tell my story by myself, because in most cases my story or our story with my husband has always been told by other people and there have been so much conclusions drawn. So I'm grateful you have such a platform. By the way, you are doing a very great work. Keep doing what you're doing. And one of the gifts that I keep thanking God for is the love relationship I have with my husband. It is not something I can take for granted, because it is not all wives that know their husband love them. So I'm a wife that knows. I'm very confident that my husband loves me very much. He prioritizes me so much. So our story, we are married now, this is the 13th year, and we thank God. We met each other in campus, innocent love. We got married in the second semester. Also another story that I don't want to go to today. It could be quite long. So after our campus, we got our firstborns. Yeah, 2015, April 2nd, I got my firstborn, who were twins. And I just realized I was having twins on the labor ward. All along I was told during the ultrasound that I was having one big boy, and I was prepared for a boy. Actually, I even had one baby blanket. So going there, I could not labor normally like my fellow women. I took longer hours laboring, and then I went to theater. And you know, as I said, my husband loves me. He would tag along just looking at me. And when I came out of that place, he whispered into my ears and said, "You are not coming back here again." I remember that voice. So I was, actually after that I got the 5-year, it's called the E-plant. Yeah, something like that. So on the 3rd, I got it, and I think I renewed it. Yeah, I got it immediately after having my babies, and then I renewed it. And the second time of renewal, on the 3rd year, it should be for 5 years, I got my now second born, who is a girl. She's a beautiful, strong girl called Axela. I said, that was last year, I said, wow, I'm done with the baby. Thank you, God, for my last baby. At least we are not having another baby again. And my husband was like, because I also got the baby through cesarean, and it wasn't very easy for me. He began telling me that I want to go for vasectomy. And I was like, what? Vasectomy? You've always said so many crazy things, but this one, I'm not sure about it. You want to go for vasectomy? Because I was actually using the family planning methods, and most of them happens not to agree with me. I've never understood. I would go let's say an implant, then I begin just to bleed, and I'm bleeding non-stop. Then I would go back to the doctor, they remove, then I try maybe something else, maybe an hormone, then I come back, I swell, I have these chubby cheeks all of a sudden, maybe my appetite is not stable, and I'm wondering what is happening. And you know, when you are under the influence of hormones, you are moody, you have a whole roller coaster of mood swings. And also you can't be stable even for the children. Then you find that our sexual life would go like this. You don't even feel, I would feel like I'm not even interested in sex at all. So my husband would look at me and say, hey, why are all these things not working for you? Have you ever heard of the stories of other women? Could it be also them experiencing the same? Because I hear most women just do it. But women experience challenges. They don't just speak about it, because when they speak about it, their men gaslight them. It's like, you're complaining too much, so what do you want us to do? And the family planning has been made something for women, and it should be a family planning. So when my husband went for vasectomy, when the story came out, it came out as something very unpopular, something that shouldn't be shared openly. It is a shameful thing, like where he comes from, the area where he comes from, people expect that masculinity, strong masculinity, whereby you don't express love openly, you don't support women in matters, family planning. But you find that my husband takes me, when I get pregnant today, the first antenatal he will go with me. My husband is just a blessing. I tell you, he will go with me throughout the whole session. In fact, I never tell them how long, those questions, I never answer them. He's the one who answers. Sometimes I forget. I forget even my ID sometimes. He says everything, and he's always there for me. Then when our children are born, there is no single clinic, or what do I call it? The visit, doctor's visit, that I've ever gone on my own, whether twins or just a single kid. He's always there. So he's been part of my journey, he knows me. And then apart from that, we are people who are pro-family. We really love to inspire families and marriages positively, because nowadays it's like people have to only speak negative about marriage, or look like they're suffering, or like a marriage is something that shouldn't be glorified. People are glorifying divorce, people are glorifying polygamy, people are glorifying things that are not in the will of God for marriage. But us, my husband came from a dysfunctional home, and when he met me, he looked at me and told me, I found a wife. Can I build a home with you? And I was like, what a weird, this guy is so weird. And he's not even organized when it comes to dating and all those. So we never even dated. And I think somehow God prepared me for a man like him. So he's so big on family, and he's just like, he wants to tell other men that they can build a whole family, a wholesome family, because whatever he went through after the separation of the parents, my husband lived on the streets. He joined a gang of a squad. They were stealing from people. He almost dropped out of school. In fact, he dropped out of school. Was it 2 years or 3 years? Yeah, so he dropped out of school, and he told me that he never wanted any of his children to go through that. Also, there was a time he was a hard boy for people. So having come out of that, to be a man he is, I look at him and say, I'm even blessed to have such a man in my life, because God wouldn't have taken him through that and then just make him just any normal person. People are, in fact, I don't know, sometimes I feel the social media is somehow pushing an agenda, and this agenda is not very healthy for families, because however much we run away from family issues, however much we try to paint marriage as bad, we will have children and we would wish them someday to get married. We'd have brothers and sisters whom would wish to settle down someday. You see, the thing with our society, we are living in denial. Just because it is not working for me, instead of me looking for reasons or the root cause as to why it's not working for me, I give up. I say it's a scam. But marriage is not a scam. Marriage has never been a scam. The will of God for marriage was never planned for marriage to be a scam. The will of God is that marriage become a place of peace, whereby even if you come from a place of toxicity, workplace, pressure, outside there, you come back to a home. We create a home where children can grow, seeing love. The first examples of love should be from a place of family-centered. And that's why even in the Bible, they say that a bishop should be a person who is of one wife and who is able to take care of family. because family is something that really, God has family at his heart. Yeah, it's something that is God's agenda, and marriage as a whole. Marriage is a beautiful thing. Sex is a beautiful thing, because you find like things like sex, people don't talk about them. People like love between couples. People can talk about sex when it is a scandal or they want to make it look awkward. But we should encourage couples to have healthy conversations on their sexual lives. We should encourage couples to express love openly, so that even when children are growing, you see there is a phrase that they say, monkey see, monkey do. We cannot tell our children, one day be a good husband, and you keep slapping your wife or calling her names in front of the children. See, so we have to set that pace, create that example. My husband came from a toxic family, I would want to say that, with his permission. But he never carried that home because he never liked it. You know, you can create the stopper. You can become the deal breaker or the chain breaker, because we said with my husband, our children are not going to fight the same battles we're fighting or their parents fought. So we'll stand. And what keeps people grounded, that I may say, even for my husband, inspires me a lot, even before he went for vasectomy, we cannot express what we don't have. We must connect to the source of the things we need, like love. Love comes from God. People are so busy looking for things that are secondary that people don't have time for important things in life. Things like family. Things like connecting with your children. You know, we are always on our smartphones, and this has caused a lot of junk, information overload in us that we cannot even operate normally. We need to encourage people to be mindful. Yani, have that mindful practice whereby you can just get still, calm down, fill your cup, fill yourself. If you have a child with trauma like him, you know, most people from dysfunctional homes, they suffer from narcissists. They become narcissists, you know that? Yeah, if they are not well counseled, or if they process the pains differently. But most of the most sure cure for narcissism or psychopathy and such like things is being mindful. Things like meditation. You meditate, you get time to know who you are. And the best gift one can give to their partner is to be self-aware. Let me tell you, if you are self-aware, everything begins to align. You will begin to see your areas, your flaws, your patterns, the consistent weaknesses. You begin to realize, oh, kumbe I'm even having anger issues. You tackle it. If you have self-sabotaging behaviors, you work on them. So, you know, we don't have such spaces, individual spaces. The only time we have free, we are on TV, we are on WhatsApp. So you find even the children, you are there, available, but you are never present in their lives. Before you realize they have grown, you are chasing money, we are working to pay bills, and leaving behind the stages and important phases of life that we cannot recover. Something like loving your wife. You cannot replay it in future after old age, during retirement years, to come back to love your wife and your children. So people need to be intentional about how they do their things, how they handle their things, so that they create time for themselves, that safe space to grow, to advance as human beings, and also time for their people. Because I cannot give love that I don't have. I must keep feeding myself. And then also this information overload. I would encourage people that you begin to align to the information that agrees with you. If you don't agree with something, leave it. If people are glorifying divorce out there, or maybe unfaithfulness, let them glorify. You find people, there are also people, by the way, we've done a show called Naked and Not Ashamed. They are couples who are very grounded and doing very well. You can look for such stories for inspiration. If you go to your social media, let your social media work for you. If you agree with something, click to it. We have a logarithm. It will keep bringing such kind of information and removing those junks. For example, let's say, for example, let me give you an analogy of a cup of coffee. and a cup of clear water. You have a cup of clear water here and a cup of coffee. So if if you keep pouring this clear water on cup of coffee until that the coffee, if it is full, it will be pouring out, and the more it pours out, you continue with the clear water. Soon the cup of coffee will be clear because it will be filled with the clear water. So that's how you can do the information. You can rewire your subconscious from the point of where marriage is bad, love is not available. Love is there. God has provided enough love for everybody. People just need to get time to heal, deal with their traumas, and even get themselves from a space of fear, because even love can come to you, but you keep repelling it, you resist it, you feel like, I'm not worthy. There is a psychological behavior pattern of human beings whereby if a person is consistently exposed to chaos, they don't get aligned to things that are peaceful. So that means even if they get spouses who are aligned, who are whole, they maltreat them because they are used to a chaotic environment. So that's how people end up even pushing. Some even say, you are too good for me, I don't deserve you, because they feel they have been so much exposed to chaos that they don't deserve a good things. The husband or the wife is somebody who maybe came from a wholesome family, but because of how you haven't dealt with your past, you keep assuming that this partner that you've gotten is like your ex who heartbroke you. So you become defensive and you create a barrier even before you access. So we block, and that's how we block money, we block health, we block love, everything. It's a scarcity mindset. So we need to get out of a space of scarcity mindset where we say, life is hard, love is not possible. This, everything, some people are doing these things that you are saying are not available. As you are complaining that, oh, there is no money, suffering is normal to you, there are people who are changing choppers. So it is just aligning your mindset. So when people see my husband, they say, you guys are just packaging for you umekalia bwanako. How do I say that in English? You sat on your husband, something like that. So how can you sit on your husband? My husband is whole enough, he's a man I respect. You just can't get yourself to a point where you agree that there are couples who can just love each other. I'm looking forward to a place whereby people will begin to talk positively about family and marriage, and even not just talking about it, living it, setting examples for our children. People will begin to connect with God. We don't have time for God. And when I say connecting with God, I don't mean religion. Religion is one of the things that have brought Africa to where it is, to poverty. We need to get to a place whereby you are spiritual. Spirituality and religion are not one thing. That's why we have even people like Buddhists, Hindus. They are doing so well because they have their time to connect with their spiritual aspect of life. Before you see any manifestation in the physical, you will have to deal with the spiritual. If you get to a place in a home whereby there was separations, there was constant divorce, like the way I was getting married to, that home when I went to, there is a pattern of marrying and remarrying, and there is also poverty. So we agreed with my husband, told my husband, these are two things we need to fight, we need to deal with. And we could not have dealt with them just as mere human beings. We had to become different people. And we cannot become different people by just doing the same things daily. Every normal person is doing, people are eating, sleeping, and that's like animals. Animals, they eat, they sleep, they get to have sex, they get children, and then they wait to die. No, you cannot, you have to be different. You have to get to know, who is this me? Connect to it. How can I fight these patterns? Then you connect to God. That's when we become, and we submitted our marriage to God. Because if you're married in a home that is dysfunctional, there is a small voice that will always keep telling you, this your marriage will end up like the rest. This your marriage will end up, it's like a song. And then you submit that voice to that, to the authority of God. Now you see, when after having our third born, because the firstborns are twins, now we were, after having that girl, which was January 8th last year, we opted for vasectomy. I said my husband wanted to do vasectomy, and I was like ish about it. But he told me, there is a friend of mine that did this vasectomy is actually a consultant. He keeps coming here, but he works in Nairobi as a consultant, Nairobi Hospital. So I think if it worked for them, it can work for us. And I was like, oh, if it is a doctor who did it, then this one could be something legit. So how is it? Will you still be performing? Will you, is it a wound? Will you be left with a scar? You know me, I did not have, like many of you, I did not have the information. I was just having that naive thinking. But this guy was so determined. He kept calling this doctor, but me, I'm like, hey, I wish these people don't get to be available so that we postpone or we see something. On the other hand, I was desperate. I think I was torn between two. I'm desperate because my situation doesn't support me to continue using the family planning, but I'm also scared for him because, you know, when you work together, you become mindful of each other. Now, I think when our baby was she 3 months, or is it 4? We went for vasectomy. He was in the room. I never went because I had the baby. I was outside, but it took something like an hour or 45 minutes. It did not exceed an hour. But they did his surgery, he came out walking. That was the first surprise for me. Because I was expecting him to come out with something like a wheelchair. But he is just walking. And kumbe vasectomy is not that bad. Then we went home and it was just okay. I looked at it, it wasn't even a big wound. Can you imagine? It was just like, I don't know even how to explain. Just a scar, yeah, something small. You can't even see it with the you know those things like elastoplast. Kadogo tu hivyo imewekwa. So I was like, kumbe vasectomy is not that bad. Okay, let me wait. Maybe it is wounded inside and it's not showing outside. So I waited the first week. Imagine my husband was just okay. I gave him a time for healing. He gave himself. He's a very strong guy, you know. So he gave himself time for healing. But I remember I was told that we should give it a period of 2 months because sometimes is it the sperms or the semen, those things can be on the tracks. Yeah, during the vasectomy, they cut the duct. They make sperm not to get to get out during sexual intercourse. So the semen can just come. So watuuliza, ni hewa inatokanga during release ama what ni semen kama to those your husbands. But it cannot fertilize me now. So I was happy. Vasectomy is successful. I was now the happiest woman. I'm done with the delivery. And then I began workout. I was working out. I want to get back to shape. You know, you're having mommy belly. You are just now healing from cesarean. You are now getting back yourself. Now you are beginning to work out. You're working out. Then I'm working out. Then at some point, then boom. I'm like, why is it that the more I'm working out, the more my belly is coming? So I was wondering, why is my belly coming even? And then I said, I ate some bread. You know, I don't do bread much of the time. Bread is usually for my babies. I'm not a lover of bread. But I began craving for bread. Kumbe, I'm craving for this bread because of pregnancy. And I'm working out to remove the potty, which is not even the potty. I missed my period on October, during October last year. I delivered on January. We went for vasectomy, March. Was it March or when? No, I'm not sure of the dates. Yeah, but I remember I skipped my periods, October and November. Then December now I became suspicious. When coming suspicious on the 3rd month, I could not tell my husband because how can you say you are pregnant and you did vasectomy? It doesn't make sense. So I asked my husband, darling, yes, do you think somebody can be pregnant after vasectomy? I said, I'm not sure, but there are always exceptions to any scientific experiment or surgical procedure. You know, he's a medic, he has the foundation, he's an. And then I was like, why are you asking? And say, I saw some woman online. Actually, she was on Tuko. She was saying that she got pregnant and the husband did vasectomy. That story was even a cook-up story. It could happen. He was working on his laptop. And then I went back. Then what made me suspicious, my feet began itching. Me, anytime I'm pregnant, my feet itches. That's how I always know, without reasonable doubt, that I could be pregnant, even my previous pregnancies. So my feet was itching. And I was like, darling, I went to him, can I ask you something? I was even, you know, this topic is even heavy. But do you know what my worry is? My worry wasn't like he would suspect me or something. My worry was like, could I be going back to theater anytime soon? You see that feeling? Because I was still having that, you are getting your body back to normal, and you don't imagine yourself having the same cut, because the same cut of the second pregnancy was there, the same spot of the first ones. So I was like, hey, but let me just go. It's always my safe space. A place where when I'm just overwhelmed, I just go, darling, what would you do if you get pregnant again? And then like, do you think you are pregnant? He was asking me. He looked at me like this. Why? Are you pregnant? And he went, no, I'm not pregnant. I'm just imagining. I don't know why I keep having these weird thoughts. But my feet is itching. I know I'm pregnant. I was very sure I'm pregnant. But I was hoping, I'm in denial. I'm just praying, God, just do a miracle. Do anything. Reverse this pregnancy. I always hear you do miracles remotely. If there is a pregnancy in my womb, take it to a family that need it. Carry the fetus. Just do anything, God. Don't embarrass me. Don't do. So I was praying. I got into prayer mood, interceding with God. God, please. God, please. And then I told my husband, darling, you see, I've been thinking that the more I'm working out, the more my belly is becoming more round. I don't understand. Let's go and ask the doctor if somebody can get pregnant if after vasectomy. Just confirm with him. And then he said, actually, it is possible. It's a very rare case, very rare. None of the previous ones he did ever got to that state where somebody gets pregnant, but it can. So we went for a test. During the time, we booked actually the next week for a test. When going for a test to see if I'm pregnant, I was interceding. God, you know, you are God of miracles. We can do this. I went for a test. I saw him. I explained that I'm suspecting, I'm not sure, but I'm suspecting maybe there is something. I just want to be sure. Then he told us, come in the afternoon. In the afternoon, I went for that, but I was like, God, you know, I've been praying. I know you are faithful. You answer your people. So I was seated there. When the scan was coming, there is something in my tummy. I was like, what? And how many weeks? Got almost 12 weeks. And like I've finished a whole first trimester. I've been pregnant all along. I'm like, hey, I'm pregnant again. And you know, this is December last year, December. And I had a baby January. So it's like I've been pregnant three months. So I'm remaining with the 6 months to deliver. And like, how? And I was like, how? And I was like, people will crucify me. How will I walk with another stomach again? And my husband, though we did not announce it to people, but there is one person whom we shared with because we were scared. But we wanted to share with a friend and also the doctor. So they were following up. How is it going with you? How is the healing process? Such like. So we unfortunately didn't work. Then, what? Your wife is pregnant again? Yes. We did not tell it to anyone, not even my parents, not anyone. And I would be indoors 24/7. I was embarrassed. I went through, I don't know whether it is depression or what. In solitude, I would hide from people, cover myself. And carry my baby to clinic. Now my baby was about, she was grown. She was around, I think, 7 months, 8 months there. The other baby. I'd go to clinic, and if somebody looks at me along stay, I'm like, now, God, not again. They're looking at my stomach. Is it showing? Could it be showing? And I wasn't comfortable at all. Then I went on with my pregnancy. I thank God my husband was supporting me a lot morally. Then my story came out when I've just had my last scan. I was going for several. By the way, the first scan I did gave me hope to continue with my pregnancy. Because when I went to that scan, that guy asked me, how many boys do you have? And I was like, boys? I have one. You are having another boy. And I was like, you see that pain or whatever confusion turned into joy. Sudden joy, I just felt, and then something told me there is something special about this boy. There is something different about this boy. He has never bothered me. He has never given me mood swings. I am jumpy. I'm just hiding from people, but I'm not having those usual mama thing. So I was just happy. Who is this boy that has decided to come with vasectomy? I was telling God, what a weird boy. Then, when my pregnancy was now 4 months and 7 months and I think 2 weeks, we went for the last. Now this one was the third scan, and it happened that our story got out. Wah. I have never been crucified with Kenyans like that. Aki Kenyans, there is a lot of misinformation and lack of... People are so judgmental. Though I don't take it personal. I understand. Maybe if I were in their shoes, I would have done the same. Oh, this woman looks like a very unfaithful wife. Oh, blah, blah, blah. This one, alichezo. Everybody concluded, including relatives and friends who are sending my husband, how do we say, sorry messages, how do we say those? Is it what kind of message? Sorry, bro, you will just pick up the pieces. Yeah, we are sorry for you guys after all these years in marriage. Beryl decided to do this, and I'm pregnant. I'm heavy to co-citizen. My face is all... People came to interview us, so you cannot run because it is your story. You come, yeah, this is us. You compose yourself, you tell them how it went, and then when it is aired, there is how people perceive it. So it did not turn out well, but it did not affect me. Naturally, I'm a very strong person. I don't take things so personal. So we were just laughing it off. People were sending me screenshots. I laugh it off. I'm heavy. I'm pregnant. I don't want pressure. I told God I don't want to. My son has never given me lack of peace. I don't want to get to depression because of what people are judging me for. So I left. I assumed it. Kumbe, these things were affecting me subconsciously without me realizing. So when my baby, after the last scan, the 4th day of the last scan, I began feeling funny, but I was expecting more pain than that. So my husband asked me, are you okay? I actually made chapatis for them for the evening, and they ate. And then we ate food by at 10. We ate and we went to bed. I did not eat because I wasn't feeling like eating. And I went to bed and I was feeling kind of funny. I'm like, I'm not always like this. And then I was like, I'm expecting more pain than the pain. And my husband is asking me, are you okay? You've been turning a lot. And I'm okay. Yeah, my baby cannot come. It's still very early. We were told we have to wait for 4 weeks, and he was just weighing 2 kg. So we cannot even if I'm not okay, what will it change? So I began to sleep, and I telling God, I don't know how I'm feeling, but just help me. Help me pass through the night. I reached the morning. Hey, I struggled to sleep. Pain all over. By the time it was midnight, it was at 2 a.m. I woke up. I felt like going to the short call. But when I woke up, I just saw a pool of blood. That was now the wake-up call for us. I woke up my husband. I said, my husband, I'm bleeding. You are bleeding. And it was blood. And then he was like, he was scared. For the first time, I saw my husband scared. He was suddenly like, hey, I know, he told me that he felt like we've lost it. And I told God, you cannot give me a baby after vasectomy and then you allow him to go. I just told God like that. And then something came into my, how these people have crucified me. They have judged me. And now again, I want to end it in mourning. I said, no, God. I began walking in my sitting room, speaking in tongues. And I'm bleeding. My husband is running here and there. He's trying to look for a car. And I'm just, like I went into another higher self now. And then I told God, out of my belly floweth rivers of life. My baby will not die. None of the fruit of my womb will perish. I decree life for you. Say you shall bless the fruit of my womb. You shall bless my seed. They are mighty in the land. And I was declaring and declaring. The more I'm declaring, the blood is reducing. The more I'm declaring, the blood is reducing. Suddenly where I was standing now, there was no blood. There was just a trail between my thighs. I told my husband, our boy cannot go. we are going to deliver this boy victoriously. Now I was laboring. I was feeling something between my lower belly, you know, how moms feel when they want to get the baby. So we went with my husband. My husband was really panicking. And suddenly I got peace. I don't know from where, but I somehow got peace. And then I went to the first hospital with my husband, where now we did the last scan. Nobody was prepared for such an emergency. It was everything closed. We left there. We went to the next hospital. The sitting doctor is not there. They are not prepared. Nobody is prepared. I'm in pain. Bleeding wants to come again. But I'm intensifying the word of God. I'm intensifying the promises of God over my children. I was speaking it, and I thank God. The spiritual aspect of a human being is a very important aspect. People should know, especially to moms. Oasis Hospital, I said I'll be mentioning you wherever I go. You did amazing work. They were running up and down. Everybody is trying to do something. This one is doing pressure, stabilizing my pressure. This one is trying to do what? They were doing so many things. I wasn't in my right sense of mind. But I remember I had like 11 people monitoring me. And they were so kind and they were so loving. And then I delivered my son. My son was purple. He had lacked oxygen. He was now tiny. He was a tiny baby than any of the babies I've ever had. And he was gasping. Like, I was like, God, remember the promise. Out of my belly floweth rivers of life. I only carry Zoe. This is life. And you know, now I cannot pray verbally. I was just, you know how you pray. When I saw my baby born, amidst the pressure and all those things, whether he was purple or not, I knew he was going to live. I saw him, they were putting that oxygen thing on him, and he was, and removing, I called him, you are a commando. You are a commando. I don't know why I told him, you are a lion, you are a strong boy. The first time I spoke after theater. So we were side by side each other. And I was looking at him, you are strong, you are a lion, we can do it. And I keep thanking God. I saw God, and I saw love of God and favor of God and grace, and I don't take it for granted. I'm always grateful to God for all my children. I know He has plans for every of our children, and mine, I know I'm just a custodian of these children. It's not like I'm a special mom or something. God just saying, like He would have trusted any other mom with that situation, but He said, let this baby be born in this family. There is a verse in the Bible that says, perfect love cast away doubts. Yeah, that one I think can really apply. And also in my case, since we met with my husband, I would say confidently, I've never given him a reason to doubt me. We've operated our marriage in a place whereby there is openness. We just realized there is opaqueness and fakeness that to deal with is a lot of, you use a lot of energy to be fake. I believe if a couple have come from a place of oneness. Oneness doesn't mean you being together. There is togetherness, but there is oneness. You be one in mind, you be one in spirit, where you are mindful of each other and you protect each other from anything outside there. You will only do things that are proactive for your marriage. Like, if I respect my husband and I love him, I wouldn't want any other man to come between us. And if I've maintained that over the years, even if somebody comes, there are people in his inbox who are saying, are you very sure? Even the last interview was told, why can't you do the DNA? Do the DNA. And then it was like, am I doing DNA for Kenyans or I'm doing DNA for me? I'm the one who is living with my wife. I'm the one who knows my wife. Why would I be doing DNA just to make you guys happy? Which has no point. So we are coming from a place of trust. And I think I would urge any home, my desire and anything that I would wish for families to establish their love on trust, build trust, create an environment where you can be trusted, and also create an environment where trust can be nurtured. If by any means maybe it was broken somewhere along the line, you can rebuild it slowly by grace of God. And also you can have open conversation. We speak over everything. Mimi hatu nikatie lewa mumkatie, I'll know. Nobody gets into our inboxes without each other knowing. So that is how we operate our family. And it really helped us because even the families, even our brothers don't think they always, the siblings, they understand us too. They understand our spouses to a certain level. They would want you to question deeply. But you find that if you shield them, you are there for them and you know them, it will be easier for them to stand up for you. So that is, I think, that's something that helped us. the fear of God in our life. We love God because that's the only hope we have. The option we have no other option. We don't have any other wisdom to make us be who we are. So we said, why not try God? And by trying God, understanding His word, tulisema there is a lot of stress outside there. Let's just bring a family where people are free, people are happy, no opaqueness. When you keep things secret, you live in secrecy, even any other person can turn the story in his own way, or the enemy can take advantage of the situation and bring it out in a very different, awkward way. But I would say my motivation, or our motivation as a family to speak up our story, is because there are many other people relating to our story, but they can't speak up because the society has created a certain bar, a certain standard, whereby it is a standard of finality. If you've done vasectomy and you've gotten pregnant, your wife is unfaithful. That's it. There is no negotiation. But people fail to also analyze other aspects surrounding this procedure. And I'm glad people have come even to our inboxes. When we were just coming here on the bus, we were just on our way here, some mom just reached to my husband and told her, thank you for sharing your story. We did vasectomy and I got pregnant, and we've never wanted even our relatives to know. But my husband thankfully trusts me. There is one who is suffering from health-related issues because of family planning. She said they even separated the rooms because the husband cannot understand her. Yeah, so there is a tug of war. And now that we are coming up, she can be like, hey, maybe my husband can relate to your story, to see that it doesn't have to be helping me in the family planning, doesn't make my man less a man. I can see your husband is still just a man who is respected. So I would say that supporting your wife or just being there for your wife doesn't make you a lesser man. Yeah, there is a lot of lack of information there. There is misinformation whereby women and men should not be naturally lovers. They just have to be married partners who are in some kind of partnership, which is the lie of the devil. We need to promote love. And when we promote love, things like vasectomy will be normal things. Things like faithfulness in a marriage is normal thing. Just a woman being faithful or a husband being loyal to their spouse is a normal thing. That should be normalized, so that when you see a couple they are saying they are loyal to each other, it doesn't have to be, why are you saying? Don't say you will disappoint each other someday. No, we are not disappointing each other. We are settled, we are content, we've gotten what we wanted, and we know where we are going and where we're coming from. So we don't have more reasons to look for other people elsewhere. Also, that thing came to issue of children. They were telling us, if you do this vasectomy, how about your children? No, even if you don't do vasectomy, if your child is to die, he will just die. So vasectomy doesn't kill children. Unfortunately, it's God who protects children. And God has made you a custodian of those children, not because you have all the supernatural power to protect them. You just say, Father, this is the children you blessed me with. I surrender them to you. Keep protecting them. I surrender to your will. And let the rest to be dealt with God. Life becomes easier like that. Yeah, so currently we are working on a show with our senior. There are actually our mentors, Reverend Munene and Pastor Susan Munene, the one popularly known as Tuatua. We are doing a show called Naked and Not Ashamed show, because we want to highlight issues of couples, what people go through. So we are all over social media. On my platform, I'm called Beryl Solano. I'm always there also with my husband to encourage a couple, even if you are going through a season, because most people base their marriage, they give up on their marriage because of just a season. We tell them, you can overcome this season and become something. Don't let your children grow in a dysfunctional home or separated family because of this season, either sickness or brokenness, lack of job. We encourage couples to keep going and also to let their marriage be run by God. And also I invite you to also like my children's platform. They are called the Duo Models. They have a passion for spoken art. They have been trying to push their talent. And we also have a page called The Golden Marriage Show. It is just hearing stories of other couples who have gone ahead of us 20 years and above, and we are trying to use their stories to inspire other people, probably younger, who could be in the same situation. So as I conclude, I may just want to say, may God bless your families, and please don't give up on each other just because of a difficult phase. Hold on, there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. My husband is a wonderful man. He managed to overcome his childhood traumas. He would have ended up a narcissist, but he became the reverse of that. Then whatever he's doing outside and whatever he's doing inside the house, they align. Not many people have that balance. Many people crusade outside, and then when they come home, they are very...
Our thank you so much for that. I will say that it has been a journey of growth for both of us. None of us knew anything about marriage. After me coming from a broken family, because I saw my parents separated, I was only, I think, 10. So I didn't know anything about marriage. And every time I was in my marriage, I always used to look for a day we will separate, because I knew that's how it should always end. Simutaachana tu. But hasa siku ya kuachana hatukujua ni gani. But I think it has been a journey of growth. I can't take credit. It's all about Christ who humbles us and who makes us better men. And I always say that when couples move close to God, they move close to each other. The more far away couples are from God, the more separate they are from each other. So it has been grace of God for the last 13 years. And she came into my life like a mother. That's what I can say, because I think I missed a mother figure for a long time. So I used to look up to her as a mother, and her being a firstborn in their home, she knew how to take care of people and she just fit in so well. And I can say that if it was any other normal girl I would have married, we would have separated a long time ago. So she came in as that younger firstborn, the people who are born with the responsibilities, and then in their home, she had so many siblings who are very close to her. When you alikuwa analea, amelea huyu, the mother was always busy, so she was the one who was taking care of. So she became responsible when she was still very young. And she carried that into my marriage. So she has been like a mother to me, teaching me things that I didn't even know. Also, because she came from a very good family, she was able to pick a few lessons from their parents, and she brought them to me, because, you know, me, I was blank. And I think that is the mystery of compatibility. When you are compatible, it means that what I lack you have, and what you have I lack. Sure. So if she found me empty, and she came with a full cup. So which I was drawing from. So now at least I can say I can have somewhere to manufacture something that from what she brought in my life. So, and we are very passionate about family and marriages, and that's what you do most of the time. We began talking about family and marriage a long time ago. So we are doing shows. We recently met the Monenes, the Twatwa couple. We are doing a show called Naked and Not Ashamed Together, just to impact families, marriages, and tell them that it's still possible in this generation to have a good marriage.
This is the biggest team we've ever hosted at a go.
A team of 4.
Yeah.
And we left 2, so imagine we would have come a whole house.
Yeah.
A team of 6, yeah.